smash that red bell thing that other people say in other YouTube videos today. My name is Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joepinionated. On today's Joepinionated List, Music Edition, Top 10 Songs All Time for the guitar legend, JerryReed. JerryReed was born in March of 1937 in Atlanta, Georgia, died at the age of 71 at his home in Tennessee in 2008. Now, if you're wondering who JerryReed is, you might know him from Smokey and the Bandit. He became friends with Burt Reynolds working on a couple of movies and ended up doing the soundtrack, the Eastbound and Down song. What you might not know is that he's one of the greatest guitar players of all time. He basically started off by writing songs, selling songs, getting by for years, becoming friends with Chet Atkins, his guitar hero, making records with Chet Atkins, winning Grammys with Chet Atkins. He also got a big break from Elvis. Elvis wanted to record one of his songs one day and was working on it all day long, and they couldn't get the guitar sound that he heard on the record. So they got Jerry to come down. He was mid-fishing trip and came down to the studio, played the guitar for Elvis. Elvis's eyes lit up. Elvis ended up working with him again in the future and is one of the only people to ever have a writing credit on an Elvis song. JerryReed was an actor, a musician, and had a unique voice. Sometimes it sounded like he was sort of talking and kind of had this Cajun thing going on, real muddy swamp music crossed with like a CCR thing sometimes, and other times it sounded like straight bluegrass. Jerry's one of those guys with limitless talent and has a million great songs. One thing that was definitely available to me in my house was country music, and JerryReed fit the bill. This record was one of the ones that got me into it. It's called Kooky Country. It also has some really great tracks with Roger Miller, and Johnny Cash's Boy Named Sue was another one I was introduced by this record. Kooky Country. Another one was one of these ones here where you get the compilation. I think it's maybe Reader's Digest. Yeah, Reader's Digest. It was the cassettes for me, but there was a bunch of country songs on this that I really ended up liking. And JerryReed's not so much country, but I guess he's a little bit country. He's a guitar picker. Anyways, Joepinionated List, JerryReed, here we go, 10 to 5. Number 10, I have the song Sitting on Top of the World. This is from the album Jerry Explores Guitar Country from 1969, so just as he was kind of breaking in big, he had already put out Guitar Man at this point. JerryReed, 1969, Sitting on Top of the World. Number 9, JerryReed, all-time greatest songs, Joepinionated List. I'm going with the track from 1972. I'm pretty sure it's the self-titled record, 500 Miles Away from Home. At number 8, all-time JerryReed greatest songs, I have She Got the Goldmine, I Got the Shaft.
Well, I guess it was back in '63 when eating my cooking.
This is the kind of song I think of when I think of JerryReed. I mean, he's got a different style altogether. I feel like I saw him saying once that he's not crazy about playing guitar and singing at the same time. So oftentimes when he would tour around, or maybe sometimes when he would tour around, he wouldn't be playing the guitar. He'd just be singing, or vice versa. I think he'd always have to sing, actually, no, because he's got a pretty unique voice. It's not the greatest voice. I don't know. That's not my favorite thing about JerryReed. I think the cool thing about JerryReed is just that he's just himself. He's very unique and one of the best guitar players of all time. He was certified by Chet Atkins as one of the only 4 greatest guitar players of all time. Anyways, he's got a bit of a sense of humor. She got the goldmine, I got the shaft. Next song, number 7, the song Lord, Mr. Ford. JerryReed's greatest songs of all time. At number 6, just outside the top 5, I have his cover of classic Georgia on My Mind. This is off the 1969 record again, Explores Guitar Country. Okay, top 5 JerryReed songs of all time. I'm going with the soundtrack to Smokey and the Bandit, a movie that JerryReed was also in. and the song is Eastbound and Down.
Gonna do what they say can be done. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there.
There's certain movies like, Mad Max, Road Warrior, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, actually, come to think of it. Dirty Harry movies, The Warriors, The Wanderers. All these movies that just happened to be on once a week growing up. Smokey and the Bandit was one of those movies. It was on all the time. It was just one of those ones where you threw it on. Ferris Bueller, something like that, where you just throw it on and you can't turn it off. Great movie. Soundtrack gets in your head. It's great start to finish. Eastbound and Down, number 5 for me, for JerryReed songs of all time. At number 4 all time for JerryReed songs, I have on my list Alabama Jubilee. Alabama Jubilee is just one of those songs where you want him to stop singing just so you can listen to him play the guitar. It's that enjoyable. I highly recommend watching him on YouTube videos, just watching him play. And if you get a chance, watch him play with Chet Atkins. Those live performances are even better. Another cool one to check out with Chet Atkins is him playing with Mark Knopfler. Yeah, anyway, sorry, JerryReed. Number 4 all time on my list, Joepinionated Greatest Songs of All Time by JerryReed. Alabama Jubilee. Now, most JerryReed songs that I was into at a young age. But this one I kind of owe thanks to my friend Tris, because he pointed out the certified guitar club or whatever that these guys are in. And he was asking me if I knew who JerryReed was, and I couldn't remember who that was. I knew that I had heard the name, and I looked into it and I said, okay. And the top 2 songs, I'm like, okay, I really loved those songs growing up, and thank you for the reminder. And I went and found this in the store, because this is where I found one of the top songs on my list. I saw a live performance of Chet Atkins and JerryReed performing my number 3 song on the Joepinionated List, which comes off of this album from, I guess, 1971. The album is When You're Hot, You're Hot. And the song is the cover of the Bob Dylan mega monster smash hit, Don't Think Twice, It's All Right.
I just say fare thee well. I don't mean to tell you that you've been unkind, but you've been wasting all my bad.
I know what you're thinking. Cover song of a Bob Dylan track. But yeah, Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. It's a great cover of a Bob Dylan track, which there have been many great covers. Pretty sure that Hendrix's cover of All Along the Watchtower was rated the number 1 cover of all time. And that's a Bob Dylan cover too. But this one, I prefer over Bob Dylan's now. That's hard to say. That's such a good song, and it's one of my very favorite Bob Dylan songs, but I love JerryReed, and it's the guitar playing. Check out the live version that he does with Chet Atkins. He's wearing his Atlanta Braves ball cap. It just kills it. So number 3, I got JerryReed's version of Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. And that's Tristan Clark of the Tristones. Thanks again for letting me use your music in the show, and also to the actual goners, Duncan Simmons and Tristan Armstrong. Top 2. Number 2 comes off of this album here, 1971's When You're Hot, You're Hot. And this is the title track, When You're Hot, You're Hot. So this would have came off of the Kooky Country. This is one, the guitars just kick in. You want to hear somebody incredible on the guitar, check out When You're Hot, You're Hot. It's a totally different style song, but this is what you're going to get with JerryReed too. So this is a good introduction to JerryReed. There's no honorable mentions today. They are in the playlist. The playlist is in the description below. Number 1 is also off of this album right here. So that's 1, 2, and 3 on my list are all off the same album. But I didn't discover any of them off of this album. So there's that. But yeah, if you're going to get one album that you see out in the stores or whatever, I'd buy this one first. The number 1 song for me on the Joepinionated List of top 10 JerryReed songs of all time is Amos Moses. Amos Moses was a Cajun. He lived by himself in the swamp. He hunted alligators for a living. He just knocked them in the head with a stump. The Louisiana law is going to get you, Amos. They raised up a son that could eat up his weight in groceries. They named him after the man of the cloth. They called him Amos Moses. So for me, yeah, I discovered this one off of that this year. It came on after a song called The Happiest Girl in the Whole USA. It's a country classic. But when I was a kid, I couldn't stand The Happiest Girl in the Whole USA. But it was on cassette sometimes. You just ended up listening to stuff that you didn't normally want to listen to, just to avoid killing the battery or something like that, an old Walkman. Something recently came up with Amos Moses. I was listening to an interview with Les Claypool from Primus. He was talking about buying his first record, and his first ever record that he purchased was Amos Moses. And I thought that was really cool. And he was talking about JerryReed too, and I don't know if it was a podcast or a YouTube video or what, but it was pretty cool to hear Les Claypool talk about JerryReed as well. But my number one song of all time by JerryReed is Amos Moses. I haven't heard absolutely every single JerryReed song. There's so many of them out there. Let me know if there's some that I really need to listen to now. Apparently he was like a crazy cool dude. Everybody liked him, and that was the most important thing that most people say in all the little write-ups and stuff like that I was reading. So that's pretty cool to be known as a really cool dude that was in one of the coolest movies, Smokey and the Bandit, did the soundtrack for it, hung out with his guitar hero Chet Atkins most of his life. I mean, he had it good. JerryReed's Joepinionated List is a wrap. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell. I'm sorry I'm a little low on facts, but high on opinions. Big respect to JerryReed.